Welcome to Sell Windows Blinds. We are on version 5 and we are in 2026 and we have tons and tons of updates we have done. So what is new on the price grids? On the price grids, you now have the possibility to create a new price grid and you can call whatever you wanted, and then you can even put the price and you can create a grid automatically. Then you have the option to modify the grid. You can actually view any changes as a preview, and then you can save the changes, add columns, add rows, or delete them. Then what we have done extra, we have done the option to export as a JSON format. You can also now have the option to clone a price grid, so I can clone this grid and then we can modify, make changes, and save the price grid. On the bulk assignments, we made a lot of changes here as well, so you can choose the category of the product, you can choose the product itself, and then you can choose the fabric, and you automatically will automatically tell you what price grid is, and then you can override or you can actually apply the changes. We also now have the option price grid. This allows you to create in the product configurator an option that you can charge a customer based on the bid and drop of the blind, and in this case you can apply a price grid option to like a fascia or a cassette, which you might have to charge based on the length of the product. You can do exactly the same functionality like you do on the price grid. You can edit, clone it, or create a new one. On the product configurator, we've done lots of changes, and when you add a new parameter and then you add options, you can now add an option and set an image, and the UI designer will display the image. You can also make an option discountable or not. So for example, you have a remote that you don't want this to be discountable, which means in the case you're running a promotion on the price grid or you have a discount price, this option will not be discountable. You can select fixed price grid, or you can use the option price grid, the one that you just built. Then you also have the option to choose if this service is a standard or express delivery, and if that's the case, you will mark this information onto the price, onto the export file. You can also say if this option is related to the measurement type, and then you can choose yes, and this will export as an option to XML or CSV or JSON formats. This is also the formula that you can apply to the following parameters from the export file. You can also have a formula. You can display a formula if this is a parameter that requires a formula, and this is the case where you have panel blinds like shutters, where you must display based on the information that user enter how many panels the product actually has. You can choose if it's a default yes or no, and also you can choose if this is hidden from the customers, and you as administrator will be able to actually view the information, but the customer will not be able to view so. As a default, this is set to yes. Now, what else we've been added to the products? We also added formulas. So now on the product parameters and options, you can apply the formula, and this is the case that we applied for a shutter product, where we put in the number of panels, and then you can actually see the formula. You can make the calculation and all these fields that are available. You can choose the variables from the products and then see the formula, and once you save it, you can apply it later. We also very excited because we also add the child safety rules. So any product that has a chain or a code, you can apply that to the product. And the formula is quite simple. You can choose the country, you can use the priority, you can have the conditions, and then you can have the formulas based on how this will be calculated. When you choose to have a child safety, after you set up the formula, you can go back to the product, and on the product you have an option called child safety, and if this option is ticked as yes, then it will automatically will automatically apply the formula that you just built. If it's a shutter, you can say yes, and then you can apply the formula based on what we discussed a bit earlier. While we have the extra, we also added the stock items, and the stock items allows you to add a stock item. So for example, we have this fabric called mini white, and let's take an assumption that you have two different products. You have a motorized product and a standard roller. However, this fabric is cheaper on a motor or more expensive. You can allocate a custom price grid. So when you go to manage, you have the option to say that if it's this product, you can choose which price grade this fabric is going to use. And of course, this already has been assigned, so we won't allow it. So in this case, it will allow you to assign a price grid to different products having different pricing. So instead of being stuck to a stock item to have one cost, one price grid, this way you can allocate this to multiple products. We're taking an example when you have vertical products and you're not selling as a complete blind, you're selling as a full head drape plus the louvers. You have a price. When you're selling louver individually, then you have a different price, and this is where it allows you to kind of not be needed to duplicate that. We also implemented an option called roll length and roll width and turn fabric. This will allow us to identify what is the length of the roll of the material and what's the width, and if this fabric can be turned, and this is used in the worksheet side of the plugin, where allows you to view the fabric optimization software. On the order export, we also been able to add an order acknowledgement, so this way it will sync now with your supplier, whether you can do it manually or you can have automated, and you will automatically go back and look at the following format. It's a CSV format, an XML format, and it's a JSON format, and you'll connect to the FTP of the supplier, and you'll verify if you have any orders, and if that's the case, it's going to update your order with the information from the supplier. On order export, we also added the possibility for you to view the total exports, what's been successfully, what's been failed. If it's been failed, you can actually re-trigger this to be resent again to the supplier. We also added a new feature called remake orders. So let's take an example. Your customer has been ordered 2 blinds, and one of these blinds got damaged or the production has manufactured this wrong. Now you can have the option to come back to here, choose an order, load the items from the order, and then from these orders choose the reason, and then from here you'll be able to see all the items and choose those that you want, and then make changes to the options if there is something wrong, and then automatically create the remake order. When you create the remake order, you will just clone the exact order with the changes that you made, and you can actually see what happened to the status of the order. We also have added analytics, and analytics has the option to show you exactly what has been happening with your orders and data, so you can understand a little bit of business. So you can see how many orders you got, what's the value of those orders, how many blinds been into those orders, what's the actually average per order, how many remake of these orders you had, if you had any express orders, what has been average per blind, and of course how many of those have been like sample orders. You can also view that by dimensions, by price grid. You can view that by performance. You can see by product code, by fabric code, by range, by color, and you can see the samples what's been ordered and the orders. You can see the remake orders, the express orders, and of course you have some dimensionalities, and then you have the heat map. So you can actually choose a price grid, and based on this price grid, you are able to actually view based on the price grid was the most ordered sizes. So you can see that in this case we have 8 by 10 by 6, 10 by 610, but this allows you to understand exactly the heat map of your price grids. We also built a little bit more the UI designer. The design settings were initially on the settings, so now we move this into UI designer. And in this case, you can customize every aspect of how this looks to your customer. So you can customize the price, if it's on the top or the bottom, what's the text of that, colors, everything like that. You can choose which units you want to sell. Maybe you want to sell only millimeters or centimeters, inches is your choice. Then you have dimensions where they're going to show. You have the options as well, and the buttons. You have the delivery options if you want to show in a color or different things. The room, if you want to enable this to show us that the customer must input the room or not, if it's required or not required, and then of course some other additional settings. What we have done extra, we have added supplier status dashboard. That means to allow your supplier to integrate with your webhook settings. So what that means is you can have a sync between you and the supplier, and then after you generate an API key, your supplier can connect to your WooCommerce shopping platform, and then you can get status. You have the option to activate email status, and if you say active or inactive, if you change it to active, each time the order gets an update from the supplier, your customer will also be able to get an email notification. And you can customize them the emails and can put whatever you want in them, and this is what your customer has going to receive. You can see the orders which are in manufacturing, which are pending updates, which using webhooks, acknowledgement logs, and you can also see the API documentation. So in this way, you can have two-way syncs from you and your supply. You can see there's how many orders on the cutting, how many assembly, quality complete, and ship it and delivered. And now what we've done extra, we implemented the worksheet, and this way you can view your orders and you can see what are the status of your orders. You can also go and view blind. So now you have as a blind view, so you have individual items, and then you can choose to print them, manufacture date, export them, just run the fabric optimizer, change the status, so I can actually come to this order and I can say that I want to have a different status, so I can update the status to the order. I'll set the status to order printed in production. You can set more statuses, you can do more tags, and you can go to label designer. So if you go to label designer, you can actually customize how this is going to look like. So if you take this as an example, you can see the rows and how it's been done and what information is going to show. And if you put a barcode, you have all these options that you can use to customize your own worksheet. And then you can also set the manufacturing date to this order, and then you can do the history of the order, what has been changed. You can set to a status to order. Let's go back to blind view, and then you can choose to, let's say we want to see on the roll-off, and then we can choose this, and then we have the option either to export to PDF based on the template that we have done. So if we do that, you can see that the labels will be created, so we can export as a PDF. This is just a test file. So if we look at that, we can see this is just an example. This can be customized. You can put whatever you want. And then if we go back to here, we can choose to use the fabric optimizer. In order for this to work, you actually need to have the stock items configured. If the stock items are not configured, this will not work. But to have a little bit of idea, this is how this looks like. So you can actually see the pieces. You can see which piece goes by which piece, what the fabric code, what color range, rule the range, and that tells you exactly what's happening. You can see how much is your waste, so like 22%. You can see 34%, depending on how you configure this onto your own shop. And I think this is it. This is what we've been implementing lots and lots of features. These features that you actually seen, they've not been into our previous versions. So imagine that we went from 2025 version 2 to version 5 in 2026 with tons and tons of updates. If you have any questions, feel free to drop us a comment or send us an email to contact@sellwindowblinds.com, and we'll be with you. Thank you for watching.